Welcome to INN CEO Talks. In this episode, we're talking to Alexander Molyneux, the CEO and Managing Director of Galena Mining, which trades on the ASX under the symbol G1A. The company just released results from its 2020 Abra project drilling program. Galena owns 77% of the Abra Base Metals Project, which is a globally significant lead-silver project located in the Gascoyne region of Western Australia. Abra sits on a granted mining lease. It is fully permitted and construction works have already begun. Alexander, thank you for joining me. And I understand those drill results that you just got in look pretty impressive. Let's start there.
Yes, it was a pretty impressive outcomes from the program. We did 57 holes for 25,000 cumulative linear meters of drilling. So that's about a quarter of the drilling that's ever been done on Abra. There were three purposes from the program. One was infill drilling. The second was to test a couple of zones that the model was projecting to be mineral-rich zones for lead and silver. And the third was for the first ever time to specifically drill an interpreted copper and gold zone that sits under the lead and silver. And the program was successful in this regard. I mean, in terms of infill drilling, we can say that 75% of the 57 holes either met or exceeded expectations compared to the previous resource model. So I think that's pretty positive. In terms of the targeting metal-rich zones, we had two zones where we found extremely good cumulative grade and thickness of lead-silver. And in this program, we had 8 holes with more than 50 meters cumulative significant intersections. So we only record a significant intersection if it's more than 5% lead. So these are, by world standards, very thick accumulations of high-grade lead and silver. On the third objective, our first ever hole into the copper zone hit copper. We had 26.9 meters at 1.4% copper. Within that was a section of 8.9 meters at 2.3% copper. So the program was extremely successful.
Where do you go from here? What's the next steps?
Okay, yeah, well, completing the drilling program is an important waypoint for moving forward because Abra is fully financed for its construction. Part of that financing comes from a US $110 million of facilities that are being debt facilities being provided by Taurus. Now, 70 million of those debt facilities are conditional on us completing the infill and updating the resource and the mine plan for that information. So the project is in construction, as you mentioned in your introduction, but it's in what we would call, let's say, the early stage works or enabling works. So most of the work being done on the project now, basic site civils, things like clearing the locations for the future plant site. We have built a 280 room accommodation village at the site as well, and a few things like that. Now, to move to the next level, which is basically the deployment of the EPC contractor for the plant and to commence the underground mine development, we've been trying to advance the process of making sure that remaining 70 million of our debt facilities is going to become unconditional. So, and as I said, the condition is going through the process of completing the drilling and updating the resource and the mine plan. So the drilling is complete. The next waypoint for us is the updated resource. We're very, very advanced on that, some of the work to complete that was being done whilst we were still waiting for final assays. So that resource should be complete in the coming weeks, and then you get through the next activity presumably would be the big announcement regarding the final stage of construction.
Mm. Tell me a little bit about your team. Do you have a team in place now that is experienced in building out a mine from this stage?
We do. So if you have firstly, I've done it before in this position in terms of being the CEO of a public company building a mine. We've also got, if you look on our board, we've got some very experienced directors which have been added over the course of the last 2.5 years as we move the transition from being resource development into mining. So we have a gentleman by the name of Tony James, for example, is one of those directors that joined on our board. He's a very senior mining engineer, very experienced previous CEO of underground mine development companies as well. We've also appointed a gentleman by the name of Stuart Howe, used to be Chief Development Officer of Zinifex, one of the largest lead companies in the world. As you said, we own 77% of Abra. It's in a joint venture. We've appointed the CEO of the joint venture is a mining engineer by the name of Troy Flannery. He used to be the head of technical services for Newcrest, one of the world's largest gold companies. And in and around and beneath Troy, we've fully recruited the team. So we have a site general manager in place. The works that we've done already have the mine declared as an active mine from a regulatory perspective. So we already have the personnel structure of an active mine, and the project is approximately 15% complete. So that's really done in terms of the team build out.
So can you give us a little bit of a sense of where the mine site is located and the infrastructure that is available in place to service that site?
So the mine is located in a fairly remote region. For your viewers, I guess, might be familiar where Perth is. At least it's around just around sort of 800 kilometres north east of Perth. It's relatively close to public roads, and there are other mine operations happening in the area. So we're about 65 kilometres away from Fortnum Gold Mine. We're 110 kilometres from DeGrussa Copper and Gold Mine, which is sort of one of the sort of more high-profile developments in the last decade in Australia. So firstly, the site will be fly in, fly out. So our employees will rotate from Perth and be flown into work and be accommodated in the village on site. We will generate our own power at the project. So we recently signed a contract with a company called Contract Power to build, own, operate a hybrid liquid natural gas and solar power station. Effectively, they run the power station and sell us the power. And then the concentrate that we produce will actually be trucked to the port of Geraldton, which is on Western Australia's midwest coast. The port, this logistics model is a common model. So this is the same model that Sandfire's DeGrussa mine nearby us is using. There's other mines like the Golden Grove lead zinc mine and whatnot. So this is not anything new, put it that way. And
Right.
and Golden Grove is already exporting base metal concentrates into Asia and other parts of the world. And so we've that's our basic. We have our logistics contractor is a company called Cube, which provides the integrated service for doing all of this.
Wow. So technically, I'm out of time, but I got to ask you this question: why is now the right time for investors to be, looking at your company and investing in you?
I think typically when companies eliminate the funding risk and then they move to the construction phase. That's typically a time where stocks start to respond. Once we move to the next phase, we're 15 months from first production. When we are producing in steady state, the company is projected to make around $114 million a year, Australian dollars,
Wow.
EBITDA. So when you look at the current valuation versus those cash flows, we're getting very, very close to those cash flows. And, most people would expect a re-rating. And as I said, that the funding risk has been taken out of the picture. So I think that's a pretty exciting time to join the story and just participate in that re-rating. A little bit less risk to making bets on drill holes and things like that.
Right. Wow. Well, it sounds like you've got an exciting project underway. I'm hoping that you'll come back in a few months and tell us that it's that much closer to being into production, that you've checked off all of the elements between now and full production. Will you come back and give us an update?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I appreciate the time and the interest. So of course we'll come back and let you know how we're going.
No, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.